Hi, Dr. Sullens, how are you?
Doing great, thank you.
So as Ambreen said in that little brief description, could you tell us a little bit more about what Atlas does and how you've had to pivot to virtual therapy sessions?
Yeah, sure. So I started Atlas along with a couple of colleagues about 4 years ago, and we'd always done a lot of digital work. We primarily work with founders of companies who, as you personally know, and I know very well as well, travel a lot. And so what I'll say is that the transition actually to digital wasn't too hard on us, but our major transition point was around group work. So we've been doing in-person group work, and there's something special about sitting in a circle with other people. And we've just launched actually this month free drop-in peer groups for founders, investors, as well as employees of startups.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, you're right. So, that interaction of being in the group and being physically present is really difficult. But I suppose one question that I might have, if I could selfishly ask, and I'm assuming that many people here are experiencing the same thing, when you're the founder, it's your business, it's your baby, finding the motivation isn't difficult. It comes so organically. And even if like our agency, you've been remote from day one and you haven't been necessarily removed from that brick and mortar status. Something that I've struggled with and other founders have said the same thing to me is when you're hit with something like this, with a pandemic that doesn't have a roadmap and there's no real textbook to help you walk through it. And the roller coaster that we're experiencing of, one day you wake up and you think that you can go to Congress and change laws and help the childcare industry and, clean your house from top to toe, and you can do all these fantastic, amazing things, and you're so geared up for it. And literally within 24 hours, you're at a stage where you can't peel yourself out of bed. You have no idea how you've ended up in this situation. You don't know if your PPP is going to come through and if your business is going to be saved. So what do we do with those set of emotions when you're going through it yourself and now you're having to also motivate a team that's remote and is going through those same roller coasters, and often in different platforms, right? So they're all geared up and ready to change the world, and you can't get out of bed, and then vice versa. So what recommendations would you have for a team like that?
Oh, it's a big question. And
I think we've got 5 minutes.
Perfect. I'm definitely going to answer it imperfectly. And the thing that I like to tell coaches and therapists I work with, as well as the leaders I work with, is there's no other care without self-care. And when you're a leader, and especially in a crisis, in a time of uncertainty, what you're really doing is holding a family together. You're the one that's creating certainty. You're the one that's creating safety. And like leaders always are, we're at the top alone.
Right.
And that means that you have to find and rally your own network of people around you. Who can you express the uncertainty, the doubt, the depression, the sadness, the tiredness, just the absolute dread or fear that you're experiencing to? Because it can't be your employees.
Right.
Can't be your investors, and it can't be your customers.
Right.
And you also can't hold that alone.
Yeah, no, I think I found being part of a board or an association. Only yesterday we were having this discussion with another board of really tenured agency owners that have been, through 98 and other recessions. And you're right, sharing it with them, releasing it, letting it go, and leaving it there does help. For folks that, as Mike had mentioned in the previous session, a 26 million unemployment rate in the US right now, very, very real situations of facing own job loss and things like that. What practical tools or strategies would you have for people that are feeling so much anxiety, frustrations, and just a lot of uncertainty right now?
Yeah. Humans hate uncertainty. In fact, in our sort of hardwiring in our evolutionary systems, uncertainty often equals death, right? If you can't predict where a tiger's going to go or whatever it is, right, then you die. And so it's no wonder that all of us feel this anxiety and fear. Because uncertainty tells us that we're going to die and we can't control something. And so what I tell people is that one of the causes of anxiety is actually the lack of ability or perception of ability to control or predict the future. But the key word in there is future. And that means that one of the ways of dialing back anxiety and of staying in creativity, innovation, and our kind of area of genius and calm and clarity is to stay in the present moment. And so I say to people, I can't solve all of your mental health problems. I can't solve all of your practical problems. I can't help you be a parent at home while you're also a worker at home. But what I can do is remind you that you always have peace and clarity in the present moment.
Have you found that that's helped clients?
Sure. What I will say is that it helps, but it's a practice.
Right. And so is there something practical that they should be doing? Of course, meditation, yoga, but something when you really are feeling sort of the peak of your anxiety, how do you climb yourself off of that? Knowing that really there's nothing to climb back to, there's really nothing to go to. What would you recommend there?
I think this is about self-knowledge. So all of us have something different that settles our minds and makes us feel productive. For some of us, we need to build something and have a project where there's certainty. So I was talking to a colleague recently, and he's taken up woodworking. Because woodworking, you do step A through C, and then there's a thing, right? And you can touch it and it's done. And there's certainty in that. And for some people, that's really important. Other people are learners, and they find that taking this time to learn a new skill, to dive deep into their own awareness, or to grow a skill that they've started before, helps them to feel like they're moving forward. And there's a concept in positive psychology that basically says that when we grow our competence in one area, it sort of spills over into the other areas too. So if we're feeling like we're making progress in playing the guitar, then maybe it also feels like we're making a little more progress in our business, even though it feels out of control.
I love that. Find something tangible, find something maybe of personal interest, but latch on to something that creates that sense of normalcy for you, that sense of belonging, that sense of stability, when everything else is so unstable. Find something stable for yourself to latch on to. And making sure that I'm not ignoring our wonderful friends over here, and making sure if they've asked, I'm like, dove right into a conversation with you. Jacob said, winners are always alone. Gosh, I don't mind being alone as long as I'm a winner, Jacob. And Lauren said, I never got around to hitting. Oh, I think she's talking about connecting. I hope everyone's connected here, okay? And Stephanie said, you always have peace and clarity in the present moment. Nicely said. I like that too.